Hey everybody, it's HBCU game day. It's a big weekend. We've been waiting for it all summer long. Heck, we've been waiting since last year. It's the Orange Blossom Classic. You remember that 7-6 barn burner? Jackson State, FAMU, Florida A&M. And FAMU has been in the news ever since this season started, week 0. So let's bring in our FAMU insider. If you want to know what's going on with the Rattlers and you want to get the truth, you have to talk to Vaughn Wilson. Vaughn, I know you have been busy all week. What is the latest that you can tell us on the situation with FAMU and trying to get players certified heading into the Jackson State game?
Well, Tolly, as I mentioned the last time we discussed this, it was even more emphasized that it was just a perfect storm of bad things that happened for FAMU that led to this outcome. With the departure of Courtney Gaucher and the hiring of an interim athletic director, and with several compliance people leaving FAMU, the department was actually decimated down to one person. And as we know, that's quite a tedious process to certify an athlete. You want to make sure your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed. So, just the backlash that the university received from it, from every place on planet Earth. Dr. Robinson, I have to give him credit. He owned it. He owned the situation. He and his entire leadership staff, at the end of a very long day, went down to practice on Monday to speak with on Tuesday, to speak with the Rattler football team and assure them that they were committed to the situation. The news came out that they have agreed to hire 5 compliance officers and 2 additional academic advisors strictly for athletics. And this is the kind of response FAMU needed to see from the president across the coury. Athletic directors and athletic personnel shift. But once the president and the university administration takes over, you can look forward to a lot more stability.
So heading down to Miami Gardens this weekend, have there been additional players that were not certified last week for the game against the University of North Carolina that are now certified this week for the Jackson State game, or is everything status quo with the certifications?
No, absolutely not. Along with assistance from the SWAC, FAMU has been full speed ahead in getting certifications. Coach Simmons on Tuesday, speaking to the 220 Quarterback Club, which is a support organization, said that this week they're traveling 11 offensive linemen. That was the biggest deficiency that the team had in the University of North Carolina game. They only had 7 linemen and 2 of them got hurt. And so really, if you look at the second half, it was really touch and go there. This week they have 11 linemen. They've converted 1 defensive end, I don't know the name, who volunteered to come over, and because he played offense and defense in high school, he offered to come over, and Coach Simmons says he's been quite impressive. So while we don't know all of the names, we do know that as of now, Isaiah Land, the big fish in the bowl, has not been cleared. He has filed for a waiver from the NCAA. Going into last week, that's watching the ACC network preview of the game. They talked about Isaiah Land and they couldn't wait to see him. So it was kind of a disappointment last week that they couldn't see him, but the Rattlers have their fingers crossed. And one of the attorneys who is actually handling that for FAMU has sought outside counsel who are specialists in this compliance and applying for waivers from the NCAA. And they have expressed some optimism that possibly Isaiah Land could suit up for Saturday.
Is there a cutoff time? Is it like, I don't know, what, 5 o'clock Friday? I'm just making up a date. Like, is there a time that's kind of like a hard out to get a decision where he could potentially play this weekend, to your knowledge, Vaughn?
Well, to my knowledge, I think it would be Friday at the end of the day, because Coach Simmons has made arrangements that if any players are cleared for transportation for them to join the team. The good thing about the game being on Sunday is you have that extra travel day. So my best guess would be at the close of business, because the NCAA is probably like, hey, It's not our fault we're certifying, at this late hour. We're not working over the weekend. So I would assume that by close of business Friday, or maybe even later on Friday, would possibly be the determining factor of whether we see Isaiah Land suit up Saturday or not.
You're close to the program. I'm just throwing this question out here. If you don't know, it's okay. But is Isaiah in this time frame? Is he allowed to be around the team? Can he practice? Are there hard rules in place, to your knowledge?
You cannot travel with the team if you are not certified. That is strictly prohibited. That doesn't say that if he hasn't on his own traveled down, but I don't think he can participate in game preparation out of town. I'm not 100% sure of that, but I'm pretty sure that the travel stipulations for an uncertified athlete are pretty strict.
All right, Vaughn, let's talk about the things that we did see last weekend. Now, less than 7 days ago, we sat here and I tell you, I thought the sky was falling. I thought, oh man, FAMU is in trouble when they go down to UNC with all these players that weren't certified. But man, you look at that game at halftime and you're like, whoa, I'm smelling a potential upset special here.
I can say this. There were plenty times on the sideline where Wally Pitt and I, who was also down there shooting, were just looking at each other with no words like, whoa.
Yeah, the big takeaway, Musa, the quarterback, he comes in and man, he like Marcus Mariota out there. Was that a surprise to the people who have, like yourself, who are close to the program and have been watching? Did you see that effort coming?
Absolutely. In both of the scrimmages, especially the second scrimmage, the second half of that, he was distributing exactly like he was in North Carolina. It was exciting. And he distributed the ball to 10 different receivers. You could see him through the progressions, and that's what everyone said. On a college level, that's not always the case. Let's be honest, on FCS level and on some Power 5 conference levels, the coach decides pretty much where the ball is going, and they may have one option or so. But you saw Musa going through his progressions. If someone wasn't open, you could see him rotate to the next, and even come back sometimes. And he really looked like a seasoned veteran there. And he was out to prove something. As he said in the post-game press conference, he was out to prove that he could play. And I think no one doubts it after seeing him do what he did against the University of North Carolina.
So how do you stack up this matchup now with Jackson State? Of course, they are in HBCU football, FCS football, one of the teams to absolutely beat with what they have coming back, and may actually even be better than last year. We saw a glimpse of Travis Hunter and what he was able to do in the spring game. Haven't seen much of him since. They kind of, he had the ankle sprain, and they were kind of being very careful with him, but fully expect to see him this weekend. How do you rate this matchup, Vaughn, between FAMU and Jackson State? Potentially the divisional championship game to open the season.
Right. Everyone asked me about the Orange Blossom Classic, and I said the SWAC has turned into NASCAR. They raced the Daytona 500 at the beginning of the season. They put the Super Bowl first. And while people try not to discount the rest of the season, we know the entire HBC world is concentrated on this game because the winner of the game will be the front runner for the SWAC for the rest of the season because, aside from everybody else in the SWAC, the team that loses would have to hope for the other team to lose twice, because if they lose just one game, that's a tiebreaker. And that's not likely to happen. Same thing we saw last year. We felt the possibility, after FAMU lost the game to Jackson State by 1, which was FAMU's worst game of the year from that layoff. I think Jackson State had an advantage with that spring, and even though they brought in a lot of new players for the fall, they at least had football activity. Now, as we look at this game, it's going to be much more even, as FAMU probably has an advantage with a game under their belt already this year to work out some kinks. And so I actually, in my trying to be as much unbiased opinion, I would give the advantage to FAMU for playing that game against a Power 5 school.
Vaughn, you said I'm trying to be unbiased. You got a big rattler literally right there on your chest. Hey, good stuff, man. You know, before it's all, we're gonna have Uncle Neely on, and you know what he's gonna say. So look, I know you guys are going for your team. What is one matchup though, Vaughn, that you think might be the deciding matchup? If Jackson State gets the edge in this matchup, you know, it might be favorable for them. If FAMU gets the edge in that particular matchup, is there a position battle on the field that you think can be that crucial?
I think it's going to come down to how well Shedeur handles Jackson State's offense, and how Musa, or if Rashawn McKay comes in, they handle the Rattler offense. Both teams have a ton of weapons. Both teams could be explosive beyond measure at this level. The key is going to be how poised can both of these quarterbacks be. You know, FAMU has done some things to supplement Isaiah Land not being there. They do have some guys that can fit the bill. We know last year, and of course this is a different year, and Coach Sanders, Coach Prime, bolstered his offensive line after what happened to them in the Celebration Bowl. FAMU bolstered their line to make sure that Musa stayed upright for most of the game on Saturday. If Shedeur can stay upright and Musa can stay upright, we might have the exact opposite of what we had last year. 6-7, one touchdown score. And I think the fans are hoping that it's the exact opposite of last year, in that they'd like to see these high-powered offenses get it going.
Go to work, absolutely, absolutely. I hope it comes down to the last play of the game. You know, even overtime. I'll take a little overtime in this one.
We deserve just a super game here. I just really think you know, the historic Orange Blossom Classic, which has always been, it was started to put the two best teams in Black college football against one another, and that's what people want to see on Sunday.
Yeah, and we had no idea there would be both teams dealing with adversity before they even played a game. You know, FAMU with the certification issues, and then Jackson has been dealing with water issues that has plagued that city, and that's a whole different set of circumstances there. But Vaughn, it really speaks to the character of both of these programs, and you know, that these kids have to put that adversity to the side and then focus, like we said, on the Daytona 500 of games to start the year.
That's the difference in Black colleges, and not beating a dead horse. But Musa said at the end of the game in North Carolina, when they asked him what was going on FAMU's campus, he said, "I'm getting adjusted to have to worry about these things that I never had to worry about. I never even thought about them while I was at Vanderbilt." And that's the reality of HBCUs, what we have come through, what we've done over the time. We've always been behind the 8 ball, and we just continue to shine and do whatever we need to do to make it happen. I really, really admire what Coach Prime said. You know, I was wondering what he was going to say about the water situation in Jackson. He basically said, "There ain't nothing. We Jackson. We rock hard. That's what we do. You know, we persevere." And I mean, it was genuine. It was not a publicity stunt or anything. You can tell by the way he said it that he believes that. So I don't think the adversity on either side, when that ball is kicked off on Sunday, will be in anybody's mind. The only thing on everybody's mind for those 60 minutes will be the team across the line of scrimmage.
It's got to be good, Vaughn. It's got to be good. There's no way this game won't. I just can't see a scenario where this is not going to be a great game.
The anticipation is just off the charts for everybody. You know, you got a Jackson State team that has a 5-star defensive back that flipped from a Power 5 school. You've got Shedeur Sanders, the Offensive Player of the Year. You've got multiple transfers in from Power 5 schools, from very good FCS schools for Jackson State. And of course, you got Coach Prime. He's always going to be a show. On the FAMU side, you got a more workman coach in Willie Simmons. You've got a quarterback who has immediately become high profile because of his performance against the Power 5 school. You got Xavier Smith, the All-American receiver that really North Carolina could not cover it. He was doing whatever he felt like doing. And then you've got this guy, Oxendine. Probably he's got to be one of FAMU's fastest receivers, and his name is never mentioned. And then, of course, Jamari Shareed, an All-American punt returner. This game could come down seriously to special teams. We expect this game to be a high-powered and close. It could come down to special teams. Jackson, Dion made sure he had a solid kicker coming back for Coach Prime. Excuse me, I don't want him barking at me, but knowing him from FAMU's campus from back in the days, I think he still accepts me calling him Dion. But
I think you're good there.
And on the FAMU side, you've got Chris Fadul, who's come back from an ACL injury on his landing foot, who just literally boomed some punts in the second half. And running off the field, he came by Coach Simmons and say, "I'm back." He is back. And of course, all SWAC first team selection kicker, Jose Romo for FAMU. So it should really be, both of these teams are really loaded. I want the game to live up to the billing.
I was sitting here thinking, Vaughn, when is the last time that there was a game where you had two HBCU quarterbacks that are like exclusively pocket quarterbacks, and like that's going to be one of the better parts of the matchup. A lot of times you get to dual threat, and look, there's nothing wrong. Dual threat quarterbacks are all over the NFL, but
right.
Man, this is going to be a good pocket quarterback efficiency rating. Like it's going to be a different look.
It really will. I expect this game to look like a major college football game. These teams have been groomed. Both teams have players who've come in via portal that have played at the highest level, and they're looking to make their name. I just, as I say, I can't contain my excitement to see a great football game, and I think that's what we all really, really want to see out of this game. And even other HBCUs have chimed in that, how important this game is. Nobody's going to disown their HBCU or discredit themselves, but I think everybody knows that this is a huge game as far as HBCU and FCS football.
All right, Vaughn, you are friends to all of the stars. Who are you going to be hanging out with this weekend in Miami Gardens? I mean, I know you and Luke are going to spend some time together. I mean, you and Trick Daddy are going to spend some time together. Who else you hanging out with, man?
I will be hanging out with a member of the Dallas Cowboys. Marquise Bell is coming to the Orange Blossom Classic, so that is what I'm looking forward to.
Congratulations.
I'm so proud of that young man.
Yes.
So proud of that young man. He did it the hard way, but he did it the right way, and he won over the city of Dallas. I think he won over the city. The young man's story is just amazing. What he's been through, and that's the beauty of HBCUs. He says he felt led to come to FAMU, and it was the best decision he's made in his life. So while we are sitting and people on the outside who've never been to an HBCU take pot shots at what's going on at our universities, the students continue to persevere and make greatness coming from these HBCU campuses.
Absolutely. Congratulations to Marquise Bell, undrafted, but made that 53-man roster for the Dallas Cowboys. Had a really strong preseason. We definitely hope that continues on and even to a higher level as the regular season starts. So good company.
Absolutely. And HBCU has been granted a sideline interview during the game. So look for that. We will be talking to Marquise Bell. You know, he put his phone away. Even his agent couldn't call him. He wanted to focus on camp. It was a one-way phone. He called his grandma, and that was it. And I really admire that about him. So we'll get one of the first interviews Marquise Bell has done since making the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, I know you'll come back with the heat, Vaughn. You always do. I know you're predicting FAMU, so I'm not even going to, try to get you to say anything else. Give me a spread. What do you think? What do you think is going to be the point differential in this game?
Wow.
We're coming off a one-pointer last year.
Coming up on it, yeah. As I said, I think the warm-up, tune-up, I should say, with University of North Carolina would be the biggest advantage because you work it out. The kinks, Coach Simmons played a lot of players. And, in the second half when it got close and they kind of pulled out, he didn't completely retreat, but he put a lot of players in to get experience and some very highly touted freshmen. So that is the only reason I would give the advantage to the Rattlers. But, we saw Jackson State last year light it up at times. It's just a matter of the health of the Tigers, which we have zero information. I would say FAMU by 10.
10. All right. There it is. We will see. The data will show it all. Vaughn, thank you so much, man. I know it has been a crazy busy past couple of weeks from you. And not only are you doing this, you're going to slide down and check out Bethune-Cookman in Miami as
That's
well,
right. We will be on HBCU game day, leaves no stone unturned. I'll be on the sidelines as the Bethune-Cookman University Wildcats and Terry Sims take on the University of Miami Hurricanes. HBCU game day has been granted access. So we will bring that, and we'll bring you the Marching Wildcats at halftime. We're sure they're going to put on a show. So everything HBCU sports and culture, that's what we're about. And it's just amazing that one fell in our lap right down in Hard Rock Stadium, the day before the Orange Blossom Classic. Couldn't get any better.
Don't take Uncle Luke with you to that game, okay? not to the Miami game. He can't go to that one. He can go, but he can't go with you. You might get distracted.
I have to temper my time with him, You just lose all focus of what's important. I don't want you calling me and say, hey, where was video footage? I didn't make it to the game, none of that. So he's a great guy, and he's going to interview with us as well over the weekend. He is just as hype. He grew up watching the Orange Blossom Classic parade come through his neighborhood and then going to the game. And he'll tell you in a minute what that Orange Blossom Classic game means and what it means to the Black community down in Miami. And we're just excited to get down there, that the season has kicked off. And boy, Saturday is going to be amazing because there's some spectacular HBCU games going on, and all our team is spread out. I like how you said it, our Voltron. We are just so many parts all over. Try to cover as much as we can and leave no stone unturned. And looking forward to a great weekend of HBCU football.
All right, he's Vaughn Wilson in Tallahassee for now. He'll soon be touching down in MIA. I'm Tolly Carr in Atlanta. Vaughn, thank you so much. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. We'll talk to you soon.